Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title of this video, we're making a romper today. I'm Yemi, by the way, and I make DIY videos sprinkled with some bit of lifestyle. So if you want to see it, keep watching. So today, for the measurement we're going to be using, you could just take the biggest circumference of your body. It could be your bust, it could be your hip, it could be your waist, depending on what's going on in your life at the moment. So we're using the hip today. The hip of the person I'm making this dress for is 42. I'm just going to add like 18 inches thereabout to this, and that's going to be 60. So that's what we're going to work with today. We're not going to be using any zips or buttons, so we have to make this as free as possible and still, as chic-ish as possible. So yeah, I'm using 60, and divided by 4 we have 15, divided by 2 we have 30. So we're going to see how that would work out for us when we start off. So to start right now, we're going to be cutting the shorts. You know, the romper has like the two part, and it has the short part, and it has like sleeves. So we're starting with the short part, okay? So for the length of the short from my waist to where I want the shorts to stop will be about 15 inches. Just take it like I'm sewing for myself, because I'm just going to be referring to myself throughout this video. Yes, I'm making it for somebody, but I'll be referring to myself. So I added 2 inches to that 15 to make it 17. So we're going to cut 17 inches. And for the width of this pant leg, it's going to be about 15 as well, because I told you we're using 60 divided by 4, that's 15. So this is 17 inches long and 30 inches wide, because this particular leg is on fold, so that's 30 inches wide. So we're going to cut 2 pieces of this, so we have one for each leg. This is what we have right now, one for my right leg, one for my left leg, and this was going to be like. So what we're going to do next is try to make it look like a natural pair of pants by cutting that whole curve you have on your pants that make it pants. So place the 2 pieces on top of each other like so. Yeah, just like that. Make sure you iron your fabric so that's like straight and no rumples or whatever, because I was just being lazy here, so I do not iron. So grab a pair of pants you have at home. Make sure you turn it inside out. Don't use the back to cut this. Turn it inside out like this. Make sure you get that curve out from your pants, the back side, okay? And then place it on your fabric this way and cut out that curve, that shape. It looks like an L, like small letter L, I don't know, but it does the job. So that's what it looks like. Now we have our pant legs are kind of ready. We still have to cut like a little, just cut a little extra down at the bottom, which I'll show you in a bit, just so that it has that very nice pant leg shape. So just put them one on top of each other again, and just grab your tape measure, measure 1 inch inside, 1 or 1.5. Really depends on you at this point. It's your project, so do what you want. So I'm just going to cut that excess off to where the curve starts, and now it looks like pant legs or short legs or romper legs. Finish the hem for both, and this is what you're going to have. So I finished the hem, and I also joined the sides together. So now it's like we have like 2 holes that kind of look like legs. Well, it's like you finish the 2 legs separately. That's what it looks like. So now I'm going to align 2 of them, turn them inside out, and align 2 of them this way, just so I can, be able to pin them together and join the entire crotch area together. So I'll be listing every single thing I use in the description box, so I don't have to start saying it in the video still. But you use your regular tools basically. So grab your pins and pin the 2 legs together at the crotch area. Make sure the middle is aligned properly. And if you're someone who does not use pins, you are definitely free to just, go on your sewing machine and just wing it. Do it well. Just make sure it comes out nice enough to your taste. As long as you're proud of it, nobody cares. Nobody really cares. So now go on your sewing machine and sew. Now our shorts are ready. we're kind of done with the short part of this romper. So if you want to add pockets, you can definitely go ahead and just add pockets, but I do not want to add any pockets to this. I just want a simple romper, nothing serious going on. Okay, so now I'm going to measure round just so I know what's left and what the actual waist currently looks like at the moment. Now this is going to be much freer than your regular waist, obviously, because of all the extra we added to it at the beginning of the calculation at the beginning of the sewing. So I have about 54 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches to that. That'll make it 56. Now I'm going to cut one long strip of fabric that's 12 inches in length, right? Is that length or breadth? I don't know. And then 56 inches wide, I think. So because this is going to be our tube, so I'm going to sew a 1 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to be sewing from like 4 inches down. So this is, it's really preference, right? For me, I just wanted to have this kind of keyhole vibe in the front, and that's why I'm sewing this 1 inch seam allowance, and then starting from like 5 inches below the actual top. So mark it if it's going to help you to know what you're doing, and just sew it down that way. Now I've sewn it down that way, and this is what it looks like. If I open it up at the top, you see the keyhole vibe I'm talking about. So this is what it's going to look like exactly. So turn this inside out so that you can now figure out what the next step is going to be. So when you turn it inside out, this is what it's going to look like. And now you can focus on the next phase, which is trying to make the back shorter. Now you can skip this step if you want, but for me, I like the back to be a bit shorter than the front, just because I think it's shorter than the front normally. So like from your shoulder to your waist at the back is shorter than your shoulder to your waist at the front, sort of, if you've noticed. So I divide this into two. So the front with the place that has the opening is my front, and then the rest is my back. So that place that mark I made kind of signifies my side seam, which I really don't have because of the way I cut it. So I'm going to go up by about 2 inches at the back. So where I'm marking now is like the middle of my back basically. I'm going to draw like a straight line straight to that side seam mark I made, and I'm going to cut that excess off with my scissors. So when I cut this off now, my back is now kind of shorter than my front, and I believe there will be no bulge, or it's not going to look funny at the back when I wear it. So that's going to be my back, and this is my front. Now we're going to join our tube to our shorts, okay, so that the romper can be almost complete. Make sure you align. I'm going to align the middle front, which is where my seam is. Align it to whatever side you've picked to be your front on your shorts. So I basically picked any side because I really do not have any particular side for front or back on my shorts. It's only the tube that had that. So align your tube to your shorts and grab your pins and pin them together. You're going to sew it round with your regular straight stitch, and you'll be joining with about 1/2 inch allowance, seam allowance. So while we're pinning, I dare to ask, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you enjoying quarantine? Are you tired of staying home like me, or do you want to continue staying home? When you're done pinning it down, go ahead and sew round, okay? Sew it round and be sure that it's neat and tight and looks good. So this is what mine looks like. I could open it up so you can see what it looks like. It looks just like this, and as you can see, that place where my seam is kind of open is my top in the front. So now we're going to move on to the sleeves. Okay, I'm going to fold this front part inside first because I need to finish that place. Finish the seams on that front so it looks nicer than it looks at the moment. So I'm just going to fold that inside and just sew it down. That's why I made a 1 inch seam, so that I'll be able to cover the raw edges as much as possible. So this is what it looks like. I'm done with that part, and I can go on to the sleeves. So for my sleeves, I'm first going to fold my romper. I think I could call it a romper now because we're almost done. Fold it into 2 from the front. I want to cut the 2. I call it armhole now, since it's not like a full armhole, but it's kind of close. So I'm just going to fold it this way so I can cut my armhole. So if you have any tube in the house that kind of has like armholes, you can just use that to trace it out. I have this top that it's kind of like a tube, but it's not a tube. It's got like this off-shoulder sleeves kind of vibe, so I use that to cut it. So if you have that, it can make your life easier. You can just cut it. Else you can just go in by 3 inches at either side of your tube and just cut a curve like that. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to cut my sleeves now. I'm going to be measuring 9 inches. This fabric is on fold, note that, so that's 18 inches in actual fact, and the length is going to be 23. So I'm using like the regular sleeve length, even though I know I'm sewing something that's like off shoulder, but it's going to be my regular sleeve length just because I want it to be kind of long and big. Okay, so 18 by 23. So this is what it looks like. My biceps on normal day is about 12, so I added 6 inches to that. I cut 2 pieces for my sleeves, and I'm going to cut my armhole again by simply grabbing my romper and placing it on top of my sleeves, just at the top of the sleeves, and I'm going to trace out the exact same curve I have on my romper. So place it this way and just grab your scissors and cut it again. And now we have our sleeves. We have our 2 sleeves. Now we're going to work on the sleeves. First up, by finishing the hem. Open it up, and this is what it looks like. Go ahead and finish the hem by maybe with 1/2 inch rolled twice, and that's what we've done now. And I'm going to fold it this way and finish the seam on the side. I'm going to finish the seam with 1/2 inch or less. It really doesn't matter at this point, so do you. So now I'm done with that, and then I'm done with the both of them. I'm going to kind of try to align them together now. So grab your sleeves, grab your pins again, and pin your sleeves to your romper just like this. You can turn it inside out because it just makes things easier to like visualize, and you know what you're doing, you know what it's going to look like when you're done. So I like to turn it inside out just to see and be sure that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm going to pin it inside like that with my pins, aligning them properly. I'm going to do this for the 2 sleeves and then go on my sewing machine and sew them again. So now pin the 2 sleeves together to the romper, and I'm going to go on sewing machine and sew both sides. And now we're done with that part, and it's beginning to come together. We are almost done. Just a few more things to be done now. I'm going to make a casing for the elastic that is going to be at the top of my romper, at the, well, I say neckline. I don't know if I can call it neckline, but something like that. So I'm going to be sewing round by about maybe 3/4 inch, just making a casing for my elastic basically. And now we're done with that part. It looks like this. Basically going in by like 3/4 inch round, and now I have the hole where my elastic is going to pass through. So now I'm going to be cutting strings or making strings that I'm going to attach to my elastic. So these 2 strings are about 13 inches long and 2 inches wide, and this is how I'm going to fold them. Grab one piece and fold it inside by 1/2 inch on one edge. Then I'm going to fold it by 1/2 inch on one side. because it's 2 inches wide, so in the end it's going to make like half an inch wide string, if that makes sense. So go ahead and fold the other side by half an inch again. And then one last time you go on and fold it by half an inch again, basically folding it into 2 equal halves at this point. And then you grab your iron and iron it again so it's like neat and smooth and it looks nice. So I've done, as you can see, I've done it for the other strings. For the other string, it's actually just 2. Yeah. So right now we have 2 strings and I'm going to go ahead and sew them. So to sew this now, I'm going to be sewing from the top, right from the top down along the side. We're not going to close the end. So now I'm done sewing and now I have that one end open. So that's where my elastic is going to pass through. So the ends are open just like that. I'm going to pass my elastic into those parts and sew. But now for the elastic, I just size the elastic around my shoulders just to see how much. But if you're using the new elastic band, you can just use your bust measurement for this. Maybe take a few inches off. So I'm going to pin down the elastic on one side of the clothes so that it doesn't disappear. And I put my pin on the other side and pass it through the casing I made. Sorry about the length of this video, but I really needed to get every single detail inside just so that no one is confused while making this romper. So now that the elastic is out on the other side, I have the 2 ends outside. I'm just going to pin them together so none of them kind of disappears or something. So I'm going to try and, stretch it out so it's not rumpled. I'm going to grab one end of the elastic and then grab my string, which I made earlier. The part that has the hole, I'm going to put the elastic inside. Just grab the elastic and put it inside, just a little. It doesn't need to go further down, just enough for me to be able to sew. I'm going to pin that down so it doesn't disappear. I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. I'm going to pass the elastic inside just a little bit and then pin it down so I can sew it later on. So now that we are done, I'm going to go ahead and sew, and this is what it looks like. Now we have our strings attached to our elastic. I'm just going to move our strings inside a little. Now you can move it by about 2 or 3 inches, just inside a little, so you still have enough to tie. I wish I made my strings longer than what it actually is, so you can make yours longer if you want to. So now I went on my sewing machine and I just sewed the elastic down to the casing. You will probably not see that because it's white thread, so I've sewn it down and that's what it looks like. So the elastic is not going to suddenly, the string is not going to suddenly disappear into the tunnel. I don't know why I called it tunnel, but it sounds like tunnel. So now that we're done with that part, we're going to move on to the waist. Now you can leave your waist like this if you want yours to be free, but I still wanted mine to have this kind of like cinched waist sort of. So I grabbed my elastic again, slide it up on the waist, and I pinned it to the waist. Now we're going to be sewing this elastic round the waist, so it's going to give it like a kind of fitted look sort of. So now you can skip this part like I said earlier, but if you watch any of my other one of my other videos where I made like the sheared or smock top, you see how I share fabric. Now this is a third method of sharing which I'm going to show you today. I did not show this in that other video, so I'm just going to basically be drawing the elastic as I am sewing, and I'm going to be sewing with zigzag stitch. So for my settings, I have 5 for my tension, and I'm using the 4th stitch, and my stitch length is 1.4, my stitch width is 3.5, and I'm going to get on my sewing machine and start sewing. So now, as you can see, zigzag stitch. I'm basically going to be drawing my elastic as I'm sewing so that it's able to go around, and it's going to give the waist of this romper a kind of fitted look. So make sure you're drawing your elastic as you're sewing. So as you can see, it's already gathering on the other end behind the foot of the machine. I'm going to give you one more angle on how this is looking like, just so you're sure of what your romper is supposed to look like when you're done. So as you can see, I just keep pulling my elastic and sewing zigzag stitches. So I did this round the entire thing. As you can see, that's the end, and now we're done. Our romper is kind of complete. The waist is kind of snatched and looks good. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I'm happy that you watched to the end, and I hope that you get to try this romper out and let me know what it looks like.
At least do like normal spacing for like 2 seconds.